And people advertise like, I need leads tomorrow. I need the result tomorrow. Obviously, there are seasons when you do need that. I'm not going to deny. But people advertise in this today transactional style, and they're never thinking more than a lead away or a week away. And what they really should be thinking about is the years ahead.
Welcome to the Maven Marketing Podcast. Today is Maven Monday. I'm your host, Brandon Welch, and I'm here with Caleb, the camera guy, AG.
Yes.
Nate and Carter have bailed for sunny skies, and we said we don't need them anyway. So,
that's right.
Nate, if this works out, I start looking for a job because...
If anybody knows a shelter for Nate the camera guys...
Yeah, don't say that
because they'll take us seriously.
They'll have like 500
do the
calls.
commercial for you.
Mm.
I will remember you.
That's right. Hey, this is the place where we answer your real-life marketing questions so you can grow your business, eliminate waste in advertising, and achieve the big dream. And today, we are debunking I would call it a blockade against the big dream. This mentality of growing businesses through Google. And that's disruptive stuff, right?
Yeah.
The title should have upped our CTR today, if we want to use some Google terms.
Okay.
Yeah. But here's the thing. We built this business largely off of Google search marketing. We still spend millions and millions of dollars. Actually, we spend more every year on it. So all this is said with a full, context of both sides of what we're going to talk about today. But the title is broadcast the answer to your Google problems. And Google, as anybody who has spent a dime on it knows, has not gotten easier. It has gotten
more expensive,
harder. Yeah. We have
more
to spend,
competitive.
Yeah, we have to spend more time and money training every year to keep the same. I mean, just to stay the same performance. And that's, it's a little bit common sense because if you rewind maybe 10 years ago while we were starting this agency, it was still a quote unquote, new. I would say it was,
It wasn't a novelty. It was
new, but it was not mainstream, right?
Yeah.
Not every single business did it. There was a lot of legacy players that were like, I don't need Google, right? Why would I give them my money? And then, this adoption phase of Google is that essentially every business knows they need to do something with paid search or some sort of visibility on a search engine at least. And so, inventory and spots to be on the search engine, there's more people competing for it, supply and demand. The more demand there is, the less supply, and then therefore the price goes up. And so Google has, done that in a number of ways, both increased the cost by supply and demand, and then just flat out gotten greedy in a lot of ways. We've talked about that in a lot of episodes, but we're not going to go quite into the weeds. We're just assuming that Google is tougher than it used to be.
Yeah.
And we're saying, what do we do about that?
Yeah, we're assuming also that you are trying to win at the search engine right now. Yes. And for the record, we believe that that is a part of the formula, but it's the smaller part, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. I think in the early years, you have to go there. You have to go a little bit, nose the grindstone, and you got to grind out, and you're going to pay a lot more for the same thing, and you're going to deal with all of that. But as you mature as a business, this is where you need to move. This is where you need to go. And if you stay in Google land, you will reach a plateau. You will hit the ceiling, and you will run out of the ability to grow profitably.
Profitably being the key word.
Profitably as a marketer, as an advertiser, if you live in the search engines only.
Yes.
That's
the name of the game with Google and any of these medias we're going to talk about that are like today driven, is that he who can afford to pay the most for a customer wins. And do you want to be the guy paying the most for a customer, or do you want to be the guy paying the least amount of money to earn a customer? Yeah. And that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
On that note, would you rather have a $73 cost per lead or a $313 cost per lead?
73 sounds good.
Sounds better on the surface, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully this isn't a trick question. Would you rather have a 27.5% conversion rate from lead to appointment, or a 7.2% conversion rate?
27 sounds really, really good.
27 sounds a lot better, right?
Yeah.
Would you rather your advertising reach 531,200 customers potentially this month, or 2,213 this month?
531,000.
Bob, I'll take 530,000, right?
Yeah.
These are real numbers from 2 real campaigns that we have had our hands on. These are in the roofing category, and I picked these 2 particular clients because they are very, very similar businesses. Like any math changes market to market. There's a lot of nuances with competition or market size or number of years in business, but these guys have both been in the business about the same amount of time. They both have very similar cost per clicks on Google. They both have very, very similar markets. Matter of fact, they're both in the Midwest and they're next door to each other.
Yeah.
They both are led by great men who have a similar worldview, similar cultures, similar ways of going about executing their business. They even have, because we created them, very, very, very similar websites and similar call to action websites.
Yeah.
Yet Roofer 1 has that $73 cost per lead, and Roofer 2 has that $313 cost per lead.
They have the same Google Ads management because
that's worth mentioning.
We're doing it as well,
and we have been doing it for long amounts of time, right? So we have seen inside both of these campaigns. We've largely built them, and we're doing the same things that we know how to do, and we have a pretty good track record of making Google very profitable for our clients. We spend most of our clients have a multiple 6-figure budget per year on Google. At least easily. So it's this. These aren't small numbers. These aren't like obscure pieces of data. That's actually, I took the last year. I took 2024, and that's where those numbers came from. So that's Roofer 1 versus 2. What is the difference, Caleb? Why is one killing it and the other is average? That's actually, by the way, $300 for a roofing lead off search engine is pretty
not bad. A lot of roofers would be happy with that.
Yes.
Think that it's okay.
By the way, those numbers I quoted were Google search numbers. Those are actually what they're paying to Google per lead that they get.
Phone call or form fill.
Yes.
Just to get really specific. The difference between Roofer 1 and Roofer 2 is that Roofer 1 has marketed to tomorrow customers, specifically on broadcast,
television and or radio.
Yes.
This applies to both. In this case, it is television.
Yes.
And Roofer 2 has not yet marketed to tomorrow customers, at least throughout the period of time of those numbers, they had not.
Yeah.
Now, here's a quick thing to know. There are 3 types of customers we're going to talk about today. You guys know that if you've been anywhere around the Maven method or read the Maven Marketer book or spent any time listening to this podcast.
You can grab a copy on Amazon if you want.
Grab a copy on Amazon. It's a bestseller.
Yeah.
And they will ship it right to your door. I've seen them do it. There are today customers, tomorrow customers, and yesterday customers. But you already knew that because you're all Maven marketers.
That's right.
And the reason that's important is because search engines are primarily and almost only capable of reaching that today customer. And so if we wanted to be more accurate about this episode today, we could have said, are tomorrow customers the cure to your today customer problems? And the answer is, of course they are. And we're going to explain why. But you know them mostly as, types of media that you might be prompted to buy. And so the today customer, that just for a reminder, that's people who actively woke up and they're like, I got to have it today. They're in shopping mode. Maybe they've known they've needed it for a long time. Maybe they just now figured out they needed it. Refrigerator broke, tire got slashed, windshield got a rock in it, HVAC didn't work, roof started leaking, something like that, right? But that's people who suddenly are in the market, right, for whatever reason. And today customers primarily care, if they have not been won over before, they primarily care about what, Caleb?
Price, convenience, hassle.
Yes. How much can you save me? How fast can you get it done? And then what's the friction? How much BS do I have to go through to get this done? Right.
Yep.
So to be like an attractive option for a today customer, i.e. somebody who just met you on a search engine page and hasn't heard about you otherwise, you're going to have to be that cheaper price. You're going to have some better way of delivering the product. And you're going to have to make some sort of guarantee or something that makes the confidence in choosing you better. And those things are expensive, right?
Yeah.
Those cost us margin.
They cost you. Yeah.
And really they cost us quality of customers. So it's not that there's anything wrong inherently with Google. It's just that people don't use it to go randomly look for roofers, say, until they actually need a roofer.
That's right.
And so it's incapable of creating an awareness outside of that moment of purchase. And by the time you got to that moment of purchase, it is a very, very cantankerous, friction-filled process. And that's why a lot of people love it, because it tends to work fast. But that's why over time it's like, oh my gosh, it's tough because there's so many people at that finish line. There's 50 roofers in a 20-mile radius trying to get that click or that pick me.
Yeah.
And to be the one they actually pick, it doesn't really matter who you are necessarily in that moment. As long as your reviews and stuff are relatively good, they're calling those, you and 5 of your competitors and figuring out who can save them time, convenience or hassle.
And that's because at the moment they search for, roofer near me or fix my roof or whatever the keyword is you're bidding on, if when they make that kind of search, it means that they have no preference to you as a company whatsoever. All they need is a roof. They need it fixed. And we're going to let you in on a sad secret, but you and the other 5 roofers all have the ability to fix their roof.
Yes. And you all think you're the best.
You all think you're the best. You think you have better service, customer service, whatever. The problem is you've got about 160 words to convince somebody that you are different than the other 3 people on that page or 5.
And that's assuming your website's on point and you had the strategy and the budget in the first place to show up to them, right?
Yep. You're just a name. They're drawn out of a hat.
Even after you go through all that heartache, it's just, what can you do for me?
Yep.
It's not, I don't want to know about you. So that's the today customer. That exists in every category. Nothing wrong with today customers.
No.
That's a necessary part of growing a business. Sometimes that's going to be how people find you. They didn't have the benefit of knowing you before. But what if? And by the way, that's a very small group of people. If your ads are only showing to people buying today, you are limited to how many people are buying today.
Well, that was the smaller number from Roofer 2, right?
Yes.
It's 2,000 or something like that.
Yeah, that was a week's time. So that was in their respective markets, 2,313 or whatever we said, that 2,300 number. That was the amount of people who were in the market for roofs that week, or at least the amount of people who were searching for roofs. Now, there's some math you can use to figure out about how many people that is in your category, but just on the platform of common sense, we will say, how often does it take somebody to buy a roof?
20 years?
Yeah, 10, 15, 20 years, right?
Yeah.
How long does it take somebody before they get around to buying a car? 3 to 4 years.
35.
Yeah. HVAC units, it's probably 8 to 12 years, right?
Yeah.
How long is it for cheeseburgers?
I had one 2 days ago.
How many do you have a week? Yeah.
And then another one for leftovers.
So 3 or 4 days, right? But most products and most people that are trying to grow a service business have a long-term buying cycle, and you don't exactly know when that customer is going to be buying. You just know it's going to be somewhere in that long range windows, long range of time, right? So we would have to just assume instantly that there are way more people buying in the future than there are buying today or this week or this month, right?
Yes.
So that's that difference in 200 or 2,300 people. That's all the people that were searching for a roofer. Yet, the other thing we're going to talk about, which is a broadcast audience, which is essentially anybody who lives in modern America, is walking around using media to either, get their news or get their entertainment or fill their house with noise when they, when they don't want it to be quiet, or filling the restaurant with noise, or influencing their friends and family some way, shape, or form. Now, there are a lot of medias that do that. Obviously, there's a lot of them. There's social media, there's billboards, there's print, and all these things. We're talking about broadcast today. There's a lot of episodes we can link to here that will lay this out.
Yeah.
But broadcast is the cheapest way to reach large groups of people.
Yes.
And everybody's going, yeah, but I don't watch TV anymore. I don't do X, Y, Z.
Or I'm not targeting my most ideal customer, or I'm not. Yeah.
Yes. We have answers to those questions, but today we're just going to talk about reaching large groups of people, and broadcast is still the biggest way to do that scientifically. That's not, no media buyer in America would argue against that.
Yeah.
And dollar for dollar, it costs anywhere between $5 and $10 per 1,000 people reached in those medias. Okay. Other digital medias are fancier. We use them. We spend millions of dollars on those as well. They're fancier. Yes, there's some targeting things, and sometimes that works out to be a good hybrid solution to what we're talking about, but you will pay much, much more per person to reach them.
Yeah.
And So the tomorrow customer, by contrast, they're not buying today. They don't need your product or service. So they probably don't want to hear you flap your jaws about it. But Did you know human beings are walking around bored?
Starved for something to put their attention on.
Yes. We give our time and attention to things that make us feel more like us. We are always, as Donald Miller says, looking to learn more about how to thrive or survive. We are looking for identity. This is why we read books. This is why we watch movies. This is why we scroll 3 miles a day with our thumb through social media. We are constantly on the hunt for something that makes us feel like more like us, okay? Or that makes us feel connected to other people. We are tribal creatures. That has not changed. That's in our genetic makeup. We are wired to like connect with other people, things, and ideas, and it gets done largely through the form of entertainment. So, what I didn't ask earlier is, would you rather have 2,300 strangers or 2,300 friends?
Friends.
Yeah, we'd all rather have 2,300 friends.
Yeah.
Some of the introverts are going, no, please, God, no.
Yeah,
no.
I was thinking, I don't know if I want that many friends, but
when it comes to people who, would potentially be searching for you, you'd rather have friends looking you up, because why?
Because I'm not just a roof to them. I'm not just a pretty face.
Yes.
Right? It's like, the search engine's like a speed dating, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just a pretty face at that point, and all I have to do is make sure I'm prettier than the other ones on the search engine. But these people know me. They know who I really am, and they like choose me because they like me.
I don't know if they like you, but they definitely know you. They know you, like you, and then those two things equal trust, right? You've spent time with them. They have context. They maybe know who your family is, or they know what you're about. They know how you roll. Yeah. And human beings go with what they know. Yep. And that's just, nobody would argue with that, right? And so when they know you, they're less likely to be concerned about those today things, which are
price, convenience, hassle.
It's not just about, what can you do for me and how much are you going to save me?
Yeah. Which, by the way, costs you a lot as a business.
Costs you a lot just on the purchase price and the concessions you have to make and all of the hoops you have to jump through. It's like calling up your brother-in-law, assuming you like your brother-in-law, right? And saying, I trust you. Like, I'm not going to ask the 19 questions to make sure I'm not getting screwed. There's an inherent amount of bond and trust and just like benefit of the doubt that you get. And so for that reason, there's easily a 10, 15, 20% margin that when you're earning tomorrow customers, if you create that relationship over time, when it comes to the finish line, when they suddenly enter that buying mode, you're going to be able to benefit from. So tomorrow customers don't care about your product as such. They don't care about roofs because they're not buying them. They don't care about cars because they're not buying one. But if you will entertain them, or if you will add some sort of spark, some conversational bond with them, they will learn in time to know, like, and trust you like a long friend, like a long life friend, right? Yeah. So, are you beginning to see why Roofer 1, who has spent the last 5 years investing in daily exposures, daily messaging with his community, same size community, same all things going on as the other roofer, but he has that benefit of he's been entertaining them. We're going to show you how he's been doing that for a while, or here in just a little bit. But what you need to know is he's had a daily commitment to, in this case, television, and some radio, but mostly television. It could be either could be a good option for you. And even though he started out at that $300 cost per lead on search engines, what happened within 6 to 12 months is that people who he had been winning over, instead of going and saying, show me a list of all the roofers in your market, show me a list of all of your competitors, they said, I like that guy, and they searched for his business name.
Yeah, that's good.
Popped into their mind. When their roof started leaking, when it came around, when that 15-year cycle started rolling around for all the people in that audience, which is 500,000 people we talked about. Yep. He's the one that popped in their mind first.
Yeah. Or let's say worst case, maybe your name doesn't come to mind. They're like, who's that? I can't remember. And they search roofer near me or whatever that is. Your name is still going to pop off that page. Yes. Because they're going to be like, I've heard of them. Even subconsciously, they don't know why, but they feel a trust to you. They click on it. They see your face, your similar brand and messaging. When they open the web page, your conversion rates climb. Your close rates eventually climb too. Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
Are friendships likelier to last if you spend more time together or less time together?
More time.
More time. more time you spend, the stronger the bond gets. The same is true in marketing. The same is true for you versus your competitors. If you've spent more time, in this case, via entertaining magnetic broadcast advertising that pops in their mind when they aren't even asking to think about a stupid roofer or a stupid HVAC or a stupid lawyer or whatever, that sticks. And every night that they fall asleep, those things bounce around in their head, and over time, they just build a familiarity with you. So what are we talking about? Today customers versus tomorrow customers. If you are struggling with high search engine cost, high cost per leads, low appointment set rates, don't fire your Google or Facebook media buyer, your lead generation guy. If you don't have a strong brand, it's hard for everybody.
Yeah.
It's hard for every single person.
Might not be their fault.
It might not be their fault. Now,
it could be some strategic things to
they could be better
get more
buying
juice
media
out of it. But
I was talking to a guy last week who wanted us to do his stuff, and he's like, "You're really good at search." I'm like, "Yeah, we're great at search," but he's like, "That's all I want. I don't want any of the other crap." I'm like, "Then don't ask me. I can be the best Google buyer in the world, and I think we are. I think we're really, really good at that. And I can only make a 20-30% difference versus the guy who's the worst in the world. Yeah. I mean, if I'm being really, really honest. Now, you let me build a name for you.
Yeah.
You let me make you a household name in your market. You will call me in 1 year and you will think I'm the greatest Google guy ever, but it didn't have a whole lot to do with that.
My favorite way to talk about this is just the analogy of advertising like you're going out of business, right? And people advertise like, I need leads tomorrow. I need the result tomorrow. And obviously there are seasons when you do need that. I'm not going to deny the reality of like, you need business to show up, but people advertise in this today transactional, like hand to mouth style. And they're never thinking more than a lead away or a week away. And what they really should be thinking about is the years ahead. And that's the thing maybe we're not saying is the patience that it takes to do tomorrow marketing. It's an investment. It's going to look like your retirement portfolio, right? You're putting the steady money in there. And at first it's like, okay, like I guess I just kind of save some. It's not looking much different than if I put in a savings account, but you watch it after the next year and the year after that, and you're going to watch the, exponential parabolic, if I can.
Parabolic.
There you go.
I like
growth.
Yes.
But you'll watch it start to curve up. And that's the difference that we see over and over and over again when you have a strong message.
Yes.
Not just you're buying broadcast. Okay. We got to make sure we say that. It has to be something that's entertaining and connects to the customer long term, because they're not buying today.
Yes.
They're buying next year, or they're buying in 5 years. You're going to stick in their brain and you're going to feel the difference.
Today customers are day trading. Tomorrow customers are mutual funds. Mutual funds are not exciting at first. So for all of the doubters, and I can hear them right now, the good news is we have some serious science, serious data that has recently been released. I thought if only I'd had this at the beginning of my career, I would have spent like 9 million hours less talking and teaching and learning about this stuff. I would have just said,
look what they said.
Yeah, look what they said. These guys are brilliant. Their names are Les Bennett and Peter Fields, and they did a 14-year study on the effectiveness of advertising. They went out to answer the question we've all been wondering, that we've all been asking, what's the best type of advertising? What's the best mix? And what's my true best return on investment? And they studied hundreds of companies and billions of dollars in ad spend. It's the largest study that's ever been done on advertising. And they published it in a just a study, like a publication called The Long and the Short of It. Yep. And it is something you can look up and get your copy. I would absolutely recommend doing that. Or if you want to use Cheat GPT to say, hey, Cheat GPT, tell me about the long and the short of it. Give me 10 insights from the long and the short of it. And then what does it say about X, Y, and Z? And what if, just ask the questions in relation to that, and it knows, and it'll spit out some really good stuff. There's also a wonderful video of them giving a presentation a few years ago. It's on YouTube. So the long and the short of it is the name. I'm not taking any credit for this. I'm just reading back what these brilliant fellas discovered. We use the language today and tomorrow customers. They use the language of activation, which they would call today customers. And then they call brand building, which is long-term customers. So tomorrow customers is branding, becoming known, like, trusted. Activation is today customers,
Buy
transactional.
Right now. Yep.
Buy right now, show up, spend media to people that are only buying right now.
Yep.
And what they found out is that it's not about targeting, it's about trust. The biggest thing that happened in their findings is that we've been assuming it's about reaching the right person, and it's actually about making everybody the right person because they learn to love us in our advertising. And the brands that they studied in this, very long period of time with lots and lots of dollars to prove it. Today customers, people who stayed in that activation mode, always saying buy now, show up at the end of the customer, which, by the way, is very, very expensive. It is about 100 times more expensive to show up at the finish line as it is to buy large groups of people way before the finish line.
Yep.
And they found out, at first they all look about the same. They all get about the same result, today marketers and tomorrow marketers. Over time, though, the today marketers stayed, in the same really unprofitable zone, the same zone of like struggle, while tomorrow marketers kept climbing and climbing and climbing, and everything got a little bit better over time. And there's actually a graph right here. I printed off these slides, and you'll see it if you go watch the thing. And they're more brilliant than I am at articulating this. But here's what they found. At the end of the whole thing, companies who had about a 70% focus on brand building, somewhere between 60 and 70%, we'll say 70% is the peak, and 30% on activation. So that would be 70% in what we're talking about here, and this actually is in line with this client, 70% broadcast or tomorrow marketing, and 30% of their media and efforts and messaging around today customers, which is, for this example, search engines, are the ones that grew the fastest. After about a year's time, they were growing faster. They grew with a lot more profit margin because they could charge more. They grew, they were able to increase prices over time and not have to stay the low-cost provider. They had more loyalty. They had more referral business. And they had overall a less cost of marketing. Their marketing got cheaper and cheaper and cheaper the longer they did it for a bigger result. Yep. What do you say to all that?
I would say, I wish we had actually had the numbers in front of us, but total cost of marketing percentage-wise for Roofer 1 and 2, massive difference. We're talking about Roofer 1, I think it's in the low single digits.
Yes.
3-4%.
4%,
like
I want to say.
And then Roofer 2, what are we talking, 12?
Was 9 to 10% last year.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now think about that. And by the way, Roofer 1 spent more money, but their top line revenue is way bigger, right? Now I'm telling you, these guys started, Roofer 1 just started this thing a little bit sooner than Roofer 2. Roofer 2, we're going to come back and talk to you about Roofer 2 in about a year from now. Yeah. And they're going to be in the range of the other one. They won't be all the way there.
These are like 24 numbers. They're on TV now.
Yeah. Yeah. We put them on. They're on this plan. Okay.
Yes.
So we're going to have real case study to follow up with. See if it's true. But it's been true for every client we've ever done this for.
Yep.
And we've been doing this 11 years. We're practically experts, right? Yep. We've got well over our 15,000 hours put into it.
Give me a license.
I don't know if you can see this. It has a lot to do with your purchase cycle. We talked about the roofer. Let's just say it's 15 years. It takes 15 years for someone to come back to put a roof on. Every month, there's a little more people that come in the market. Yeah. And every month you're harvesting all those seeds you put in the ground. Yeah. So how do you do this effectively? Because we've told you the outcomes, we've told you the global strategy here, but you could really get off the rails, and this you would maybe call us liars if you did this for a couple of years and then found out it wasn't true if you don't have your messaging right. Yeah. We have a lot of episodes on the actual campaigns we've built, and Nate is going to link to some of those in the comments here. Just like you'll just see some random episode titles, and he's going to send you to those. But here's the short playlist. Don't just go on and talk about your thing. Don't say, if you need a roof now, call me now. Don't just say, I'm an estate planning attorney, and if you need an estate plan, think of me. Because guess what? That's not entertaining. What's the thing about tomorrow customers?
They want to trust you. They want to be entertained. They want
to be entertained.
They're have something more.
They weren't thinking about your. Yeah, they weren't thinking about your thing.
Yeah.
It's like so as soon as you say the thing, they go, I don't need that. Ignore. I wonder what I'm gonna have for dinner tonight.
Yep.
But if you are fun, lighthearted, or emotional in some other way, what we say is we have to make them laugh, cry, or get angry. Smiles, fists, or tears. Right.
Mm-hmm.
What is a core value number 4 here?
If ads don't bring smiles, fists, or tears, they fall on deaf ears.
That's a core value of Frank and Maven.
Yeah.
If your advertising does not bring smiles, fists, or tears, it falls on deaf ears. So make them laugh, cry, or get angry. Do that with characters. Either make a character in yourself and you as the spokesperson, owner, operator, or whatever. Or if you're not up for that challenge, hire characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
That have the same personality, the same catchphrases, the same way they dress, the same quirky ways they talk, and make them funny. Make them like TV characters, right?
Yeah.
Give them a little bit of spin. We're not taking random people off the street and making them themselves on TV. We're taking random average people and we're writing a character around them.
Yeah.
Now, I just said something and everybody's like, I don't know how the heck I'm going to do that. We're going to teach you that. And the links to the episodes we've already linked to below.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got more episodes coming up. And that's why you listen to the Maven Marketing Podcast every Monday. But just so you can see like a range of what we're talking about, we're going to play a few of these commercials right now. Nate, the camera guy, is going to edit them in. Or maybe AI, the camera guy. Al, the camera guy.
Have you ever had life throw you a humdinger and you had to bounce like a kangaroo? No matter how massive the blow, it's all about how you handle it. And if you've got a house that's nothing but a pain, you can turn it into cash in a matter of days. Get a top dollar offer on your house fast at texasallcash.com. Skip the repairs and the realtors too, because we've got a check that's made out to you. Sell your house in a matter of days at texasallcash.com. I'm Jeremy Heath and I've always got a fair income offer for you.
Okay, so that was a guy named Jeremy Heath out of Texas. He's in a very, very, very today-driven industry. He's in a home buying industry. He wants to buy your house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very good man. He's obviously an Australian guy. You saw already how we made the personality come to life.
I'm just waiting for you to slip into your accent. But
and I got a fair dinkum offer for you, right?
That's pretty good. Pretty good. When we read these scripts,
I maybe need to drink a Foster's or something. It'll really come out. Or go to Outback or something.
Yeah.
Order a bloomin' onion for me, right?
Yeah. When we read these scripts, you can't not do it in the accent because
Yes.
it's part of the character, though, that we're talking about.
And he has well over 20 commercials that we've done in the same cadence, the same one-off little weird Australian sayings, and the same. You heard those sound effects, the cash register ringing, and when we deliver a bullet point, we pound, and it's just, it builds, it's yes, that was a little bit more on the nose about his category, but he's doing it in an entertaining way, right?
Yeah.
And he makes a promise at the end. He's got a hook. He's got a fair dinkum offer for you, and I don't know what the heck that is, but it sounds better than not a fair dinkum offer, right?
Yes.
So
sounds better than something else, I guess.
Now, you guys know our dear friends Randy and Dee. Let's hear from them for a minute. I'm going to play a couple spots from their campaign.
Guys, you shouldn't have to be sweaty sitting on your sofa.
It's time to beat that summer heat.
With state-of-the-art windows from the Window Source of Kentucky.
Slash those pesky bills
Make your home look new again.
and be comfortable once and for all.
We'll make your whole house cooler than a penguin's flip-flops.
With beautiful windows and doors.
Just go to windowsourcekentucky.com
Enter a few details about your home
and we'll get you an easy price. Beautiful windows.
that won't break the bank.
So Dee is obviously a character. Randy's obviously a character, and they sing in harmony, right?
You just love them.
You love them. I want to do business with those people.
They have such a dynamic together. I don't know. There's something about the two of them. I love when Randy gets really big.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Windows,
We'll like peek the mic. The funny thing is our studio is right behind my office. I share a wall with the studio.
Oh, that's funny.
So it's like he's in my head when we're having a shoot day. It's like he's talking to the back of my head, just yelling at it. It's amazing.
And that actually kind of is how he is, but we made him like Tim the Toolman Taylor, the big boisterous, Tim Allen character. And we made her like the conservative, like sweet, sister, aunt, mom that you trust, right?
Yep.
And so we did that very much by design because they each appeal to different people and they have banter. And it's kind of sort of like the banter that the people would have in their house, maybe even about buying a big expensive thing like that.
Yeah.
And she's like, no way, no how. You're not going to spend too much. We're not going to spend too much time in your house. I'll come drag them out by the ear. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the D guarantee, right? So she has her thing. Now, guys, if you think roofing takes a long time to produce a customer, it's like 25, 30 years in the window business. It's a lot, right?
We used to make a joke. The only thing people buy less often is a coffin.
Caskets, yeah. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. You only think about it maybe once in a lifetime.
Once in a lifetime.
But I guarantee you, and actually I know this to be true, people come up to them at the grocery store. People, stop them at church. People come up to them in restaurants and ask for their autograph. And these people don't give a flip about windows when they're doing that, but they love these people. And so who do you think they're going to reach out to when that moment happens? And it's hundreds of thousands of them. It's not, wimpy dozens that shop in one day.
Yeah.
So that was a different campaign than Jeremy. Let's play one more. Who are we going to play? Let's play the ladies in white.
Pearl, do you know that I'm 85?
85?
85.
If you were a bottle of wine, you'd be worth a fortune.
Don't tell my grandkids, but I am.
You're a bottle of wine?
No, I'm worth a fortune.
Oh.
And my family's getting all of it when I'm gone.
Well, that's a big surprise. I won't tell.
Good. Keep a cork in it.
No matter how big or small your fortune is, Ozark's Other Law can help you protect it. Call the Ladies in White 868-8200.
Okay, so that's a different example. Yes, the owners are in the spot. They did not, and they definitely have a consistent hook, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have a different, consistent personality style, but we hired characters on the front end to have a shtick. Because the characters were just a little bit more interesting and entertaining for the concept we wanted to go with. We actually were kind of modeling the Golden Girls, right?
Yeah.
So we have two old ladies cutting up. It's kind of the format of the ad.
Yep.
We hired very professional actors. We do a very, very professional, like few days long shoot to make these happen. I mean, it's a mini TV production in and of itself.
Yeah.
And then the consistency and the hook and this thing we made around the attorneys, instead of making them attorneys, we made them the ladies in white, right? And so there's a bunch of people in their category that have tried to like take over, take a little piece of the pie, but nobody is the ladies in white and nobody has these entertaining commercials. We literally get letters from strangers who write and say, I don't need what you're selling, but I just want to tell you your commercials are awesome.
That's awesome.
And every time we put one online, it's like hundreds of comments.
Yeah.
Right?
And the cool thing about those ads are people don't know a whole lot about that space, right? An attorney, like, a roof needs to not leak, right? You get that. The interesting thing about those ads is I'm getting a little marketing nerdy on you, but people don't understand that category. So we have to explain while we entertain a little bit. And so people don't even know that they're being educated while these two ladies are kind of having their back and forth talk, but they're also educating you about something really important because a lot of people are losing tons of money.
Yes.
Or, thinking they're doing the right thing, but they're, giving away all their money.
Yes.
And they actually end up hurt by this. And so it's actually near and dear to their hearts, Lori and Elise's hearts, to the ladies in white, right? To make sure people are educated, but we do it in an entertaining way. And that's kind of the secret door to help them.
And they have hundreds of opportunities a month that come in now because of that campaign.
Yeah.
And we spend quite a bit of money on search as well. And we do some other lead gen things. But if we stopped the broadcast, or if the component of the broadcast didn't have it in, I actually have two estate planning attorneys who've worked in other markets. It's like 4 or 5 times the cost per lead just to do it without the campaign.
Yeah.
And so, fun fact, you come to Frank and Maven these days, we will teach you all of this stuff. We will give you our best knowledge like we are doing on this podcast. But we will not be responsible for your growth, and we will not take you on as a client unless you have some commitment in your media and messaging and strategy to the tomorrow customer, because we want to work with companies that grow a lot, not a little bit. We want it to get easier and easier and more profitable, not harder and less profitable. And so we just decided that's what we do around here. So
That's right.
So what are the takeaways? You can lower your cost per lead when everybody knows you, trusts you, and likes you before the sale. And they start searching for you by name. It's way, way cheaper. It's almost free for them to look for your name. It's very expensive for them to look for your category. $20, $30, $40 a click sometimes, per click.
Yeah.
Not per customer, per click. And then
It's insane.
it takes, 10 or more clicks usually to get even an appointment. And then it takes 10 appointments sometimes to get a customer. So you're spending thousands of dollars for a
sweating
customer.
a little bit on the
Yeah.
doing that math.
Yeah. And people come into our door with those scenarios. They're paying, well over $1,000 for a customer that only nets them, $2,000 or $3,000 in profit. And it's like, you can eat off of that, but wouldn't it be way better to pay a third of that?
Yeah.
So the whole secret, it's not the media, it's do they trust you? It's not the targeting, it's trust. It's not targeting, it's trust.
Yeah.
And when people trust you, all of the other things get easier, right?
Yeah.
Les Bennett and Peter Field, who did gazillions of hours of research on this, determined that the best mix is 70-30. You may not be able to do that today because it does take time to build up. You may have to start at 50-50 or 30-70. Like, it may have to be opposite, but you want to start putting the seeds in the ground.
Yeah.
If you're a business that has about a 10 to 15 year buying cycle, you're not going to feel the real effects of it till about a year in. It will get better and better, and you'll see some positive things coming, but it's not going to be like, oh my gosh, that was a home run, right? Until about a year in.
I think that's the
faster,
biggest friction that I'm hearing from the other side of this podcast right now is, but I can't measure it. I don't know that it's going to work. And so what I would tell you is, and Brandon's reaching for some clues along the way here. But this is not a gamble. And I think that's what everybody feels like it is. Like, well, I guess I'll try TV and we'll see if it works. I promise you, it's not a gamble. If you have a strong message and you have a strong commitment to waiting and the delayed gratification, this will pay off big time, like big time. And a lot of you won't have the patience.
Yes.
Some of you, you're listening to the podcast, so you're going to have the patience. But
you are an intelligent. You're smarter than the average bear.
You will place your buy as a 12-month buy.
Yes.
Not as we'll see how this quarter goes.
Yeah.
No, you're going to get used to it.
You commit to it.
It's a part of your budget, and you do it, and you stay consistent.
You don't call your investment broker and tell them to take money out of your mutual fund. Hopefully not. If not, you're listening to the wrong podcast. What you want is Dave Ramsey.
Yeah, go check.
You can find him on the Ramsey Show. If you're struggling with this, gosh, how do I measure it? That's a different episode.
Yeah.
Or you can comment. I would like to know the 7 clues along the way. There are ways to measure that it's working for you. Okay. They don't show up as like, and please, the one that it is not is, how did you hear about us? Well, I saw your TV ad and I was just waiting for a roofer ad to come around. So I figured I better call you after I saw a TV ad. People don't do that. Human beings don't act like that. You don't act like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have clients that ask that question. People say radio when they've never run radio. And they'll say website,
Most people will say I looked you up online. Well, that's the last place they looked, and that's what they can remember. So that's what they're going to say because they're trying to be helpful. But everybody looks you up online because they need your phone number, right?
Yeah.
It was almost always multiple sources. ComScore, Google says that. The most wacky platforms in the world say, hey, it's actually not one thing, it's multiple things. But if you want to copy the 7 clues along the way, just comment. I'd like to copy the 7 clues along the way, and I'm going to send you pages 131 through 140 in the book. And it talks about when you'll see the big results, and it talks about how long is it going to take, and it gives you some like guidelines so that hey, I've got some confidence along the way, because blind trust is tough. If you don't want to take our word for it, and we have done it literally hundreds of times, and we can point you to many millionaires who have followed this advice and have gotten stinking rich off of doing this.
That's right.
But if that's not good enough, like there's some assurance for you. It's the Maven Marketer, and I'll put the names in a hat, and everybody who comments, send me the 7 clues along the way. We'll draw out a book and we'll send you one. Yeah. We like to give away books around here.
Yes.
So Okay, last thing. Search is not going to get easier.
No.
Google is making it tougher because they're trying to squeeze every penny they can out of small business owners. There's some real data coming out that people are using search less because of AI.
Mm-hmm.
So search may not be the leader in 10 years from now.
Yeah.
I would say a big thing is if they give it to you, they can take it away from you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have control over that. But guess what? People will never stop using their own memory.
Mm.
People may stop using Google.
It's
They
the
may
search
stop.
engine that's always with me.
It will until they get Alzheimer's or die.
Yeah.
They will never stop using their own memory.
It's good.
And so, wouldn't you rather build your equity there?
Mm-hmm.
And the way you do that is media, being in front of them, being a part of their life and their thought cycle.
Yeah.
And the more entertaining you are, the easier you are to remember. And so do that. It makes common sense. Whether you realize it or not, that's how you buy and select things. And if you want to look no further than who you trust in your own life, we just lost a camera. See, Nate the camera guy. We missed you. So you're going to have to take my word for it. You know what? This would be fun. Caleb, you can finish it up this time.
Okay.
I'm here.
Yes.
Just gone blank, right?
Okay. I was going to say on video, it's maybe not the best experience right now. But
Nate, the camera guy, you were almost out of a job, but
yeah.
Gosh, we
It's
missed you.
working out.
So, hey, become known, liked, and trusted. TV and broadcast are the best way to do that in most cities in America for most service-based businesses. And that's what you need to know.
Yeah.
We'll be back here every Monday answering your real-life marketing questions because marketers who can't teach you why
Are just a fancy lie.
have a great week.
See ya.